Okay. So, the start, changing up the camera position a little bit. Mainly because, you don't want to stay in the same location for too long. I kind of learned that with my outhouse vlogs, so this is episode 32 of Amphibia, so I figured, okay, might as well now change it. So yeah, so this is Amphibia, this is episode 32A, Night Drivers, and pretty much what I expected, with the last episode, The Shut-In, it was non-canon, so we are picking up right where we left off with A Day at the Aquarium, and that's the family getting back to Wartwood. And, I mean, from personal experience, when it comes to actual road trips, it does feel like when you're going there, it does feel longer, but when you're coming back, it's rather quick. Like has anyone been? Tell me, you guys, if anyone's been on a road trip, doesn't it feel like when you're heading back, it's quicker than when you're head there? Or is that just me? I don't know. So the family is driving, and Sprig and Ivy notice that if they power through the night, they'll get back to Wartwood by morning, which for them, they're really excited about it. But Hop and Ann, on the other hand, really need the rest because to start, it's nighttime, and you just see them, and they're just dead. They're just dead. They want to rest. They want to, at least get some shut eye so they can power through the next day. But Sprig and Polly, they don't want that. They want to get home as fast as possible. And yeah, I was like, why is that? I mean, even Hop, like, I mean, by the end of the episode, like, Hop and Ann are like, okay, it's not even worth trying to get mad at them. I mean, it's understandable when you're away from home for so long that you just can't wait to get back, myself included right now. I haven't been home since middle of January, like, and it's we're near May, and it's pretty long. Funny, college, it's, you have your breaks, you get to, and you might be able to go home for the weekend, or if it's an extended weekend. Because of current events going on in the world, my college decided to power through and not have any breaks, because just in case someone comes back with the virus and causes madness. So we literally just been powering through all these weeks, and yeah, I've been feeling it these last few weeks. Just the sheer amount I've had to do is freaking insanity. I mean, kind of like the benefits of having actual breaks is you have actual breaks. You get time to breathe, you get time to recover, and so you're like back into the action. Where it's like weekends don't even cut it. Weekends don't cut it. It's kind of frustrating and stressful. And yeah, okay, enough talk about that. So the family stops off the side of the road, but Sprig and Polly wait for Hop and Ann to fall asleep, and then they decide to take the reins. But Hop told them not to because they don't. They're kids. It's nighttime, and they haven't read Bessie's book. I'm glad he brought that back up. And so Sprig and Polly, obviously being kids, are like, you know what? Nah, we're gonna do it. And so they take the reins, and they go, and they're driving Bessie through the night while Hop and Ann are sleeping. Now, this was interesting. We actually get to see what Hop and Ann were dreaming of. It's weird. So for Hop's dream, it starts off as a nightmare, and I was kind of hoping it would be something related to the music box, or like give a hint of like the guilt and the fear that Hop has about it, because come on, that's gotta be an episode sooner or later. We already knew. I mean, they're talking about the first temple. They're talking about this first temple. I mean, in the Day at the Aquarium episode, which if we're going continuity wise, was literally the last episode, technically speaking. So that's gonna have to come into play, but they don't show it. Instead, they show these giant, long-legged, giant bugs that Hop Hop pretty much sums up as all of his dark pain, fear, anger, all that stuff. Basically, just it represents that, and he's like, okay. So then, but then he realizes that he's dreaming, and so once he realizes that he's dreaming, he basically takes control and gets a little weird. Like he becomes nice and jolly and woo wee wee wee, very cute and fancy, like something out of a 80s kids cartoon. It's like, what the heck is happening? It's like, I mean, honestly, when it comes to like actually having a lucid dream, I think I had one when I was like, I want to say when I was, I remember it was definitely high school. It was definitely, I was in high school when I had it. I remember, I don't remember too much about it. I just remember I remember the actually being able to fly. Like that was probably the only thing from that I remember. I just remember, it's weird, you know. But yeah, so while Hop Hop's having that, and at first is having a dream about this kind of like Candyland thing, and she even talks to some a froyo, like a froyo who asks Anne if she wants a sample, and Anne's like, so what kind of bugs you got? And like, we don't have any bugs. And it's like, you don't have any bugs? Like, so obviously she's, you know, because the fact that she's been in Amphibia for 4 months now, 4 months, because if it's 2 weeks to get to Newtopia, 3 months, it's about 4 months. So she's been there for about 4 months. So, you know, she's basically excited to finally eat something other than bugs. But then her happy dream turns into a nightmare when they reveal that the only flavor they have is black licorice. Yeah, it gets pretty dark for Anne. And that's the only moment we get of the two, because we cut back to Sprig and Polly, who are pretty much having a blast with Bessie at first. Like, they do some crazy stunts, Fast and Furious style. And then it does get a little bit creepy, because it starts with them having to go through this gorge where there is continuously falling rocks. I question how? Like, because, like, literally they're going through and just, like, boom, 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 and there's literally a sign that says falling rocks. It's like, okay, like, boom, 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 like, there's gotta be a limit, right? I don't know. That was just me going through it, but obviously they're kind of, like, realizing that maybe it wasn't a good idea to take the reins. And so eventually they get out of the gorge. Actually, Bessie's kind of freaking out too. I like that. But they get out of the gorge, but then they go through a dark forest where they meet this hitchhiker with a hook. That was creepy. He had a hook, and he also had a glowing eye. That was the other thing. It was very creepy. So and then eventually they go to what is called the Foggy Fjords, which is basically what it is. It's like foggy stuff. And so they then so then they I think, was this before or after? So they then once again run into the hitchhiker, and this time they're freaked out, but the hitchhiker points, like, so there's a dividing path that comes up, like there's two paths that come up, and so the hitchhiker is pointing to the one down left. But so Sprig and Polly, obviously not trusting the hitchhiker, go right. And that was kind of the moment where I realized, wait a minute, this guy's trying to help him. It's like it's like, don't let appearances fool you, kind of thing. And so it turns out that's kind of what happens, because they go down the right path. They go down the right path, not the correct path, the right path. And so there's a lot of crazy things that happen down the path. Like there's moments where they're upside down. Don't ask me how, but there's a few little Easter eggs that are in there, like the robot hands, like that actual, like you can see its hands in the fog, but that's it. And so Sprig and Polly eventually are seemingly out of control with Bessie, and then the hitchhiker shows up once again, and it seems like, you know, it's going to try and cut him with the hook. They've been doing this where you have someone with the sharp object coming in, and then you cut to black, and then you just have the shiny slice, like the shiny slice. That's kind of like what they've been doing with this. And let's see. So they did it. So for this one, Polly was about to fall. Polly was falling off the wagon, and then they do that, and then it turns out that the hitchhiker actually caught her. I was like, oh, he saved her, and Sprig's like, no, Polly, I'll save you. I'm like, okay. And then eventually the hitchhiker takes the reins and pulls on it to stop Bessie. And then Sprig and Polly, they fly to the front of Bessie, they land on top of her, they turn around, the hitchhiker's gone. And then they turn around and see they see the front of Bessie, where Bessie's facing, and then and two things. One, Wartwood, they see Wartwood off in the distance, and then they see the sign that says Wartwood 3 miles away, but they also realize they're on the edge of a cliff. And so they realize that if the hitchhiker didn't stop them, they would have flown over the cliff and presumably to their deaths. So they then notice that there is a statue of this person who apparently was this travel guide who led people through the safe passage of the places that they went. And so Sprig and Polly, I keep saying Sprig and Ivy, sorry, Sprig and Polly, then after okay, so morning arrives, and Sprig and Polly notice that the path they went on, like, because the sun, like, gets rid of the fog, they noticed the path that they chose was pretty much a freaking deadly ass path. Like, seriously, it's like, wow, it's like, how did you survive that? And then they look at the path that the hitchhiker suggested, and it's literally a happy, cartoonish Wonderland path, and it's like, and there's even a peace sign. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. Like, I mean, it's not like a peace sign that you usually see. It's a peace sign that's like the foot of a frog. So, I mean, it was kind of funny. But, yeah, so Sprig and Polly realized that they probably should have listened to Hop Hop and Anne, but at the same time, they're like, well, we did make it to Wartwood, so... And so Anne and Hop Hop wake up, and Hop Hop is like, I love it. This is my favorite line in the episode. Hop Hop's like, you two better not disobey me. He looks at the sign. Dang it! Oh, love it. Oh man, I keep saying this. I'm like a broken record. It's simple, but it's funny. Again, that's how the show is. It's great, and yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's actually one of my favorite lines from Hop Hop. It's because again, it's like all he needed was that confirmation, and his response was perfect. But like I said at the beginning of the episode with Anne and Hop Hop, they look at Sprig and Polly, and since Sprig and Polly pulled an all-nighter, they are basically just wee, like they're just out of it. And so Hop Hop and Anne give Sprig and Polly the benefit of the doubt, or just they let it slide, and Sprig and Polly go into the wagon and fall asleep, and the family continues their final stretch to Wartwood. And then they show the robot, who it's on the same path as them. It turns and looks at the sign Wartwood 3 miles, and then it looks off in the distance and sees Wartwood, and then it just continues. Is this thing gonna show up in the next episode? Is it gonna show up in the episode down the line? No. I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm a few episodes ahead. It doesn't show up for at least, let's see, what is it? Next one, no. Wow. This thing, wow, God, this thing is slow but fast at the same time, because it's like, this thing followed them all the way to Utopia, and if I'm correct, what was the episode that we saw the mech? Let's see, no. Oh, they're monobarking Sprig, no. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Okay, so I'm sorry. I gotta talk about this mech for a second because the mech followed them all the way to Newtopia, and it arrived. I want to say a day after they arrived. So when the family, because the day they arrived in Newtopia, it was Marcy at the gate, scavenger hunt, and then planners check in. So the mech must have arrived the next day. And so now that they're heading back to Wartwood, the mech had to follow them back to Wartwood, and now it's here. But in terms of the next couple of episodes, or even, next few episodes, this thing doesn't show up until... You know what? I'm just going to stop right there, because... Okay, now, so the mech... I like this mystery with the mech, with, why is it following them? What is it gonna do when it finds them? All that, so... And again, my theory is it probably doesn't do well with water. Why else would it have not tried to get into Newtopia if it wasn't... and not to mention, it just stayed out, away from the sand and the water. It's like, it has to be something, right? So... All I know is this robot is 3 miles from Wartwood, and it will be coming for them. It's like, it's gonna get interesting, but yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you want to subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.